Oh, so I've just had a message, Sam, that Janine can't get into the webinar.
I see. Hold on one
Um,
second. Let me email the webinar
do you have
link.
Janine's email address?
Yes, I do. I do.
She's asking if anybody else has issues. But I
I
guess we wouldn't know, would we?
there are people who are on the link now. It
Yeah.
says people on the
Okay.
webinar link. I'll just send her an email. Um,
Hello, everybody. Sorry, we're just having a bit of a technical issue. Either way, I'm just let pass a message on to somebody and we can get going. Hope all is well with you all on this beautifully sunny but freezing cold day in New Zealand. I think shall we get started, Sam, while you send that link in?
sure.
Yeah.
No worries.
All right, we'll get going. So thanks everybody for joining. This is about how to ignite your child's genius through play. We believe that every child is born a genius, and that if we judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will grow up believing it's stupid. Now, I love that quote by Albert Einstein. It perfectly says everything we need to know about what it means to be a genius. You know, we're all uniquely different. We all have different strengths and abilities. And the important thing is that we honor those strengths and abilities and recognize them in our children. So when we talk about what it means to be a genius, we mean, like I said, it's our natural inborn strengths and abilities. So we all come with a unique pattern, a unique, we're all different souls in different bodies with, yeah, with different reasons for being here. And they're expressed through our natural strengths and abilities. We cannot teach genius. It doesn't matter if you have a weakness in a particular area, say, I don't know, my sense of physical location is really poor, right? And my sense of timing is really bad. And it doesn't matter how much I practice movement and balance, or how much I work on my timing, I am never going to be as good as somebody else who has it as a natural ability. And the interesting thing is, we as humans tend not to appreciate our natural strengths because we think, well, if I find it easy, then it's easy for everybody. So we tend not to value what comes easy. We think we have to work hard for everything. It's actually quite the opposite. We should be doing what naturally comes easy to us and what we're naturally good at. So, genius is not something that you can teach, nor is it something that we can learn as well. It's about, it's not about hitting milestones early. And I think most educators and certainly all parents will have had the experience where we're being told how another person's child has achieved, like my child walked at 10 months. Well, so what? It doesn't mean that they're going to be a better walker when they grow up. Every child learns at a different pace, and some will hit some milestones earlier than others. But what's important is that we allow the children to go at their own pace and learn in their own time. Our role is just to provide the opportunities for learning. We should try not to compare children with each other, because hitting a milestone early is no indicator of future success. We all get there in the end. And it's not about our IQ or our level of intelligence. It's more about our natural strengths. So we believe our role is not to shape children into who we think they should be, but to help uncover and nurture the genius that already lives within them. So, and that starts with seeing every child as an individual. You know, in a world that measures children against a one size fits all standard, it can be very, very challenging. Our role is to honour each child's unique way of learning, each child's unique stage and pace of developing, achieving those milestones, and to honour their way of seeing, thinking, and expressing, because all of those are what make the unique individual. So what we're saying here basically is that we focus on the strengths of every child, and we nurture them strengths and those abilities. And imagine how lovely that would be for a child if, all we see is good. Yes, we're not saying we ignore their weaknesses. There are areas that we all need to achieve a certain standard, like to be able to communicate effectively. It's important for every human. So we focus on a child's need to learn certain skills, and we focus on what might be a weakness for them, to develop them to an acceptable standard. But we more focus on their strengths and their natural abilities, because in doing so, we're increasing their level of confidence, their belief in themselves, and their self-awareness as well. And a child who feels good about learning, who feels good about achieving certain tasks, milestones, or achievements, they're going to be more likely to take risks. So when we say take risks, learning is a risk. If we, in order to trying anything new is risky business, basically. So we want children to feel good about themselves, to have a sense of autonomy, to have a sense of potency, so that they have the courage to try new things. So we guide with curiosity. So we, instead of asking what's wrong or what's missing or what does this child or my child not know, we start by asking, what are they already amazing at? Where do I see their strengths? We follow the child's lead and we ask them what they love to do. Now, some children, young children, are nonverbal, or maybe will not have the vocabulary to tell you what they love to do. But you can see through observation, you can see through what they are returning to and what they're engaged in. You can observe where their strengths lie or their interests. Looking at where their energy naturally flows, because you will find that what they enjoy doing will be what they're good at. So if we follow their interests and their natural curiosity, and then provide more opportunities in those areas of learning, then we're helping to unfold and we're helping to uncover their genius. Because the interesting thing is, the genius is not always that obvious. A child's strengths are not always that obvious. It's only through offering a variety of experiences that children can then explore, that they learn about themselves and the world around them. So it's really important that we offer rich and diverse opportunities so children can learn about themselves and learn about what they like to do, what they like to play, or what activities and experiences they enjoy. Sorry, I'm going the wrong way. That's a good start, isn't it? So we're asking what they're already amazing at, what they love to do, and where their energy naturally flows, and where they're most engaged. So where their energy naturally flows is where they're going to be most engaged, because they're going to want to participate more in things that they enjoy. And then when we focus on a child's strengths, we're building their level of confidence, because they have a strength in that area and they have a natural ability. Then we build that sense of potency, we build their independence, and we build their belief in their own ability. And that's really, really important to, like I say, for creating lifelong learners, to be able to enjoy the learning experiences and believe that we can do things, is really important. By focusing on strengths, we also build empathetic leaders. When we feel good about ourselves, we naturally help other people feel good. we approach life from a glass half full perspective, because we actually feel complete and whole in ourselves. When we're self-aware, we're more in tune with other people's needs, desires, and feelings. So in focusing on a child's strengths, we're actually building, like I say, more empathetic adults and purpose-driven people. When we know what we're good at and we know what we care about, that's what links to the purpose or the life path we'll choose as we get older. Remembering too that the early years are not just preparation for learning or for real learning or for school. These are the most important and most powerful years of all for learning. So we are really preparing children for a life and love of learning by providing these strength-based opportunities in the early years. It's where we become learners in the first 7 years of our lives. It's where we form our beliefs about ourselves, and those beliefs are those, you know, who am I as a learner? Am I smart? Can I do this? Can I take risks? Do I trust in my own abilities? These are all the dispositions and the beliefs that children build in the first 7 years of their life. Most important stage. And here are some more benefits. Like I said before, it grows our self-confidence and self-esteem, and also our identity. Like I said, do I see myself as a learner? Do I see myself as able and smart? It also develops a love of learning, because learning feels meaningful and safe. So if we provide opportunities based on a child's strengths, they love it, they're engaged in it, they find meaning for themselves in that particular experience, and therefore it's a safe learning environment. If you think, flip the switch and do the opposite, if we were to focus on a child's weaknesses and constantly be telling them they need to learn this and they need to do that, which is what most school experiences are like, then they have all these opportunities to learn that they're not really good at learning. They're not really good at doing this particular thing. So it's really important that we provide all these experiences for learning success, especially during this time where we're building our beliefs. Also, strength-based learning fosters creativity, problem solving, and independence. So if we're naturally attracted or drawn to activities that we enjoy most, when we're enjoying an activity or a play or a learning experience, then we're going to be more engaged. And if we're more engaged, then we're going to persist through difficulty. So we're going to attend more, we're going to focus more, and we're going to persist to solve problems, which promotes independence as well. So then I'm learning that actually I'm a problem solver too. I can give this a go, and I can take risks with my learning and try new things, and I will succeed because, of course, I'm enjoying the whole experience. And strength-based learning makes learning more meaningful, and it developed again through that meaningful learning experience and developing those positive learning dispositions like curiosity, independence, resilience. Then we are developing our sense of self, our sense of purpose, and our self-awareness as well, which is critically important for future success. So learning should go from play-based learning to project-based learning to then profitable projects or purpose-based learning in an ideal world. And by creating this strength-based learning environment, then we're setting our children up for that success on that learning pathway. Excuse me. So genius in a preschool setting, though, is never loud or obvious. Children can be loud and obvious sometimes, but recognizing the genius might not always be that obvious. It could look like a child who brings calm and structure to a chaotic group play. You know, that can very easily go unnoticed if we're not really observing. It could be a storyteller who turns dress ups into a world of wonder. And we've seen these. I mean, I'm sure most of you will have had this experience observing children. Some children are just like magnets to other children in the role play area because they are more extroverted and they have a real warmth and gift for involving other children. It could be a deep fascination with bugs, trains, or storytelling, whatever it might be. You know, children who are really fascinated by a particular topic. Well, they could be our future scientists, architects. So, you know, it's about following that interest as far as it will take us. It could be a child has a natural empathy for other people. They could be future psychologists, nurses, doctors. But if we don't nurture these strengths in the early years, then we're not bringing them out to their fullest. So, and also a quiet thinker who builds elaborate creations with blocks. So it's, you know, they're fantastic mathematical experiences. It could be a future architect, mathematician, or it could be that they're none of these. This is why the early years is so important, to provide a variety of different experiences, because through those experiences, children are learning about themselves. They're learning about what they like, what they don't like, what they care about, and what matters most to them. So the more opportunities we provide, the breadth of opportunities, the better. But as we find an interest, deep diving and really expanding on that interest is very beneficial for children. And of course, the desired learning outcome might be totally different from the learning the child actually gets from a particular experience, but that doesn't matter because it's all learning. So whilst children are engaged, they're learning. So either way, we win. Yeah. So all of these little ways of being are not just cute quirks, as cute as they are or can be, but they're cues to a child's way of being in this world. It points to their genius. So when we notice this and nurture it, then we help children to understand their value. So they understand that they have value, they understand that they matter, and they learn that they are capable learners. And that's exactly what we want for our children. So Te Whauriki and the New Zealand curriculum and also Ministry of Education have the process of notice, recognise and respond to learning. So this is a great example of how we might apply this to the genius concept. So noticing what the children are good at. So the Ministry of Education say gather information from multiple sources about the children's learning. Really important. Nobody knows the child better than the parents. So speaking with the parents or primary caregivers is a great way to gain insight to what the child likes or is good at. Then recognizing the patterns in the child's learning and progress. So by observing children in play, then you can identify also what their, not only their patterns of learning, but what they are most interested in, what they keep going back to. And then also coming back to the end of the cycle, responding to that through planning and responsive teaching and learning environments. So if we look at that from the point of genius and growing a child's strengths, then notice is observe with curiosity and pay attention to what makes the child light up. What do they absolutely love? Who do they choose to return to again and again? Or what do they choose to return to again and again, I should say. So are they more introverted and want to spend more time in solitary play or in the blocks, or for example, or are they the life and soul of the party? Are they really extroverted and want to take the lead? And maybe even appear bossy to to use a negative term. All of these are absolute strengths. How do they naturally interact in the world? So we're looking at, are they quiet? Do they appear to be shy? Again, it's another negative label, but a child who is introverted, excuse me, can appear to be shy. But if we allow children who are introverted to participate when they feel comfortable and at their own pace and with support, then we can support them in social situations. So again, when we talk about recognizing and focusing on a child's strengths, we're not ignoring their weaknesses. We're still supporting them to support their weaknesses, but we are focusing on their strengths. We're focusing on what they do really, really well. Because when we notice what the children are interested in and we're observing with curiosity, then this is where we can start to identify where their strengths lie. Again, recognizing, so acknowledging their interests, abilities, and efforts. So reflect on what you see while you recognize what's happening, what learning's happening, or what's happening for the child. But you can also verbalize, like you can say to the child, oh, you worked really hard on building that tower. You built that tower, took a long time to build, and you really took the time. For example, you're just acknowledging all the little things they're good at. So you're not doing it from a control point of view, you're just noticing, and they see that you notice, and they hear that they're really good at this, they've done really well at this particular task. Acknowledging what a great problem solver they are, saying you must be really proud, that took a lot of work, or you worked really hard at that. All these little moments of recognition help to build their self-awareness, because then they think, yes, I did achieve that, I do feel good. And it opens up many opportunities to talk about what they enjoy doing, what they're good at. And then obviously then as that grows, that communication, then you can bring in all the emotional literacy as well. All of this helps with their self-awareness and their confidence. And then, of course, responding to this, we offer experiences that expand on their strengths. So if we're interested in mini beasts or bugs, then, maybe we can look at bugs from different parts of the world, or maybe, on something on YouTube, or images, or a book, or we look at the life cycle of bugs, or we create our own little bug house thing. So there's lots we can do to expand on that learning, just using that as an example. So providing open-ended resources is really, really, really important, because resources that resources that do less teach more. Also, open-ended resources really support the imagination, creativity, and critical thinking. So as much as we can provide in that aspect is really good. Following their lead in play and in conversation. Children constantly surprise us with the knowledge they have or the assumptions they make, teaching them to hypothesize. What do you think will happen if we do this? So they can think and predict. And then when they actually get to experiment, then that whole process of going through the predictive cycle can really support learning, and creating opportunities for children to explore deeper. If we look at patterns, can we take them out into nature? If they're interested in patterns and repetition, can we help them see where it happens naturally in the environment? Can we be looking at 3D geometry? Can we be looking at buildings and recognizing the shapes in all of these buildings? Because if it's something they're interested in, there's going to be something pulling them in that direction. And like I say, they could be architects of the future. We don't know, but our role is to provide them with all these rich opportunities for learning. Not learning a topic, more learning about themselves, which is the most important learning of all. And of course, our responses help children to grow mastery and purpose. Learning about ourselves is going to help them in the future when they're looking at what they want to do to contribute to society. All too often we'll say to young children, what do you want to do when you grow up? When actually they can't even answer that question if they don't know who they are. So what we're doing is, through focusing on their strengths, igniting their genius, we're helping them to see how amazing they are. Excuse me. So the guiding principles for growing strengths are encourage effort as much as outcomes. So it's not about the outcome of learning, it's about the journey. It's about the process children go through, just like baking a cake. There's more learning in the process of baking a cake than there is in actually seeing the cake baked at the end of the day. So we must value diverse strengths, creativity and empathy, focus, the ability to really focus, acknowledge and encourage a child to persist through difficulty. If they're bored and not interested, they'll give up. So that's a bit of a clue. It's probably not an area of strength for them. So let's find something else they're more interested in. Encourage curiosity, always movement and imagination. Again, open-ended resources, loose parts play are perfect for this. Celebrate progress and not perfection. Nobody's perfect and nothing is ever perfect. We're all perfectly imperfect individuals living in an imperfect world. So let's not ask too much of our children. And involve our whānau, the families. Cultural and family context is really important. Remember, we're growing their belief in their own abilities and we're growing their self-awareness. So knowing they are valued and their culture is valued is really important for their sense of self and belief in their own abilities. And most important, keep learning joyful and child-led. Like, learning should be a fun experience, and for most it is, but certainly for our children it always will be. So the early years are the foundation, not just for school, they're the foundation for life. At the heart of it, every child deserves to feel capable, curious and confident in who they are. And if they do, again, they'll take risks with their learning. When we focus on the strengths of children and nurture the natural genius, we're not just supporting learning in the early years, we're laying the foundation for a lifetime of self-belief and possibility. Because if children under 7 feel good about themselves and they feel they are learners and they feel capable, they'll take that then to school and into adulthood as well. So children that grow up knowing their strengths become adults who lead with purpose. And that's so true, I believe. So just to end the presentation part of things, I want to say the early years are not preparation for real learning. The early years are the most powerful learning years of all. So let's value the time we spend with our children here and help them see what amazing young geniuses they are. And together, in doing this, we will change the world, guys. We'll have amazing, capable young people who'll go on to make a valuable contribution to society. So finish the slide presentation, but does anybody have any questions or comments? Anyone want to challenge us on this whole concept? Or do we see this in our children? Do you see it in your children? Do you have children with any like special abilities, special interests?
Hi, Janine here. I thought it was a fantastic reminder about just to sit back and really take note of their interests. I've got a situation at the moment where I feel that the children are just so invested in construction that I struggle to think of more ways that I can be supporting them with their learning. Yeah. So what would you do when you kind of feel that you're out of ideas on how you can support their play in one particular area, do you try to encourage them to look at other ways to do the construction?
Yeah, I would actually, Janine. Really good question. So, can you go from, I don't know what kind of construction they're involved in right now, but can you, a way of doing it is loose parts play is a really good way, actually. So, bring in, like, if they're involved in small construction right now, maybe tabletop, I don't know, then maybe looking at large construction, getting some massive big tires and logs and things like that to actually extend them and to get them thinking critically about how they can construct things, looking at introducing fabrics and maybe big poles, in a home-based setting. I guess a good way of doing it too is to build in just boxes from Pak'nSave or New World or somewhere, a whole variety of different boxes and fabric loose ends, and allow them to construct with that, or a whole load of stuff from the beach that they can mix with whatever construction there fits blocks. So basically you're taking that interest and you're taking it into different contexts, so they can learn about the different, how building blocks changes when you're outside and it's on a grassy slope. So you're introducing different challenges and providing different context to that construction experience. Constructing with magnets, it's a whole different experience and a great way to introduce more scientific concepts than it is building with blocks. Or building with Lego might be totally different from building with, you get the idea. So
yeah, absolutely. No, that is perfect. Thank you. I will definitely try introducing a lot more loose parts into their play as well, to really let their imagination go wild.
Yeah, loose parts is great because it really provides a lot more challenge. Than they have to use their imagination and creativity a lot more. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you.
And mixing all as well, small with large. I mean, that's a challenge too. Sorry, was someone else talking then?
A loose parts play suitable for different kinds of genius. Like, are they perfect for all four?
Yes, for sure. So loose parts play, I mean, it is exactly what it says. It's taken planks of wood, tires, old nuts and bolts. For preschool, just make sure they're big nuts and bolts. Nuts and the big nuts and bolts you get for trucks and cars that are massive. A whole host of things, old tins. It's funny, I can't think of it now, but Janine, I'm sure you could come up with lots more ideas. Even taking apart motorbikes, old motorbikes and old bikes, and taking all the parts off that, creating a whole pile of odds and sods, so to speak, and just allowing children to explore the properties and to make things and build things with them. The more variety we can offer in the experience for children, the more we can observe where their interests really lie. So loose parts, so say for example, using the example of construction, if there was a child who was in the construction area all the time and they were fascinated by building with the wooden blocks maybe, then their fascination could be also not just for the construction, but for patterns and shapes, or for textures. So by taking that experience into different contexts, you get a better idea of what really drives that interest in that play at that time. Yeah. Written copy, sort of Fahimer, Sorry if I've pronounced your name wrong. You've asked the question about, can you have a written copy of this webinar? We will be sending out the slides, and also the webinar's recorded, so you'll be able to watch the recording as well. But the slides will be, I think it's got more or less everything on there as a prompt. But I think the main thing is that, you know, children are born learners. The play instinct is an inborn, innate instinct. We don't teach children how to play. Our role is to provide an environment where children can follow through with that instinct, where children can have many different experiences to engage in play. As much as we can, allowing them the freedom to be creative and imaginative, which is why I love loose parts play. I love natural resources. So yes, our plastic fantastic resources have a place, particularly during COVID. We have to use them all the time because they're washable. But to mix them up with natural materials and to change things up all the time so that children have the breadth of experience. So it doesn't take, we don't need to have lots of resources. We don't need to have lots of money. Most of what's most valuable for children is available freely. You know, cardboard boxes, shells, driftwood, etc., etc. So yeah, it's just about us being a little bit more creative about what we provide. And observing. It's critically important to be observing what children enjoy and love, and helping them to feel good about themselves. Help them to see what they're good at, because there's too many times that we are critical of ourselves, as well as, you know, maybe traditional education being very focused on what children can't do. So let us, in these precious early years, help them see how amazing they truly are. And then they'll be able to cope better when, you know, they get a big red cross when they get the essay wrong, because they'll already believe in themselves. They'll already know they're amazing, and they'll already know they're good at things. And that's our role. So we're very blessed to have children during this time. Are we all good? I can't see everybody, so I don't get any feedback. But if anyone's got any questions, I'll take them. But otherwise, I will bid you farewell.
I think everyone's good now, Angie. I think
Good.
Yep.
Cool. Thank you all for attending, and we'll see you next month on our next webinar. Sam will email everybody to let you know what the topic is. Enjoyed having you here. Thank you. Have a good night. Bye all.
Thank
Bye.
you, everyone.
Bye, Sam.